Hey, everybody. Let's see. There we go. Good afternoon, good evening. What time is it? About almost 6 o'clock. On my end, I was on the phone on hold for an hour and a half with a company, and I'm not even going to talk about it. Then I got a recording say they're too busy at this time after an hour holding. Anyway, I just wanted to update on some of the projects I'm working on right now. The Tecumseh, I did find a way. Hey, James, how you doing? I did find a way to attach the new governor to that old governor shaft and base on that Tecumseh. I flipped it over. I took a larger drill. I drilled an access hole. I can knock out the pin. And then I'm going to put the governor on it and then tap the pin back in a little JB weld, and that should be good to go. So hopefully tomorrow over the weekend, I'll get that running, get that out of here. Second thing, what else? I was working on a push mower the other day, and if any of you, hey Maddie, if any of you have front drive push mowers or even rear drive, but mostly front drive though, the assembly that goes on the end of the axle is about a $45 assembly. There is a bearing in there that you could buy separately for $3 to $5 or maybe even $10. And nobody knows about it as far as that you could buy it because there's no parts list for it anymore. They just tell you to buy the whole wheel adjuster. So what I'll do is in the comments later, I'll put the part number for that bearing. So if anyone has front drive wheels that are flopping all around and everything, it's that bearing that goes bad. So, hey, Nikki, how you doing? It's been a while. So like I said, anyone with front drive push mowers that have bad bearings in there, you can buy the bearing. It's a special bearing, but it's not expensive. It's $3 to $8. So I'll put the link to that later in the comments so you guys can see that. What else? The Skag mower I told you guys I was working on. It's a pull start Skag that does not use a battery. It uses a condenser capacitor to store charge out of the rectifier. And the rectifier melted. The PTO is still good. The charging system is still good. So I have to the alternator is still good. It's putting out 25 to 32 volts. So that's good. I just need to buy a new rectifier for it, hopefully, and that's it. So I'll have to order one of those. I found one online. If you guys are ever looking for electrical components for either tractors or lawnmowers or something, there's a place called DB Electrical. They repop everything. Granted, it's Chinese, but they repop everything. If you need an alternator, a starter generator, anything like that, charging or anything electrical related, use DB Electrical. Look them up. They're on Amazon. They're on eBay. They're all over the place. Real good deals. So let's see. That's done. What else? That Deere I told you guys is gone. I fixed the shifter on that. I had my buddy Rich weld it, so that's done. Oh, another customer came by the other day. Mower I fixed for him a few months ago, a Toro, a 38-inch mower. Said he wouldn't start. So I said, "You sure the fuel's on?" "Yep, everything's all set." Comes over, drives all the way down from North Haven, like a 40-minute ride. Drops off the tractor, goes home. I get home from work. I turn the fuel on. Starts right up for me. So I call him up. I go, "Do you sure you have the fuel?" "Oh, yeah, we have the fuel on." "Okay." So he drives back the next day. I show him the fuel line. He goes, "Oh, that's what it is?" So anyway, most of you guys, if you don't know, when you have fuel shutoffs, usually the shutoff knob or lever, when it's in line with the fuel line, that means the direction of flow. When it's like a plus sign, that means it's blocking the flow. So just so you know, if you ever see a fuel shutoff, whether it be on anything, in line with the fuel line means direction of flow, means it's on. So it sounds simple, but people don't realize it and they forget it. So anyway, I finally cleaned out my garage. Those who do know me know that my garage was such a mess you probably couldn't walk 3 feet in it, a 20-foot deep garage. Now you can walk all the way to the back. I have a storage rack. I got rid of a couple of tractors in there, so I do have some space now, which is nice. So I can work on equipment in the rain in my garage instead of in a rainy driveway or downstairs if the thing will fit. So that's a good thing. I haven't cleaned out that garage in over 25 years, so you can imagine all the crap that was in there. So that's done. What else? Bought a few more little tools for myself, some new feeler gauges. I didn't have any metric feeler gauges, saw them on Amazon. It was cheap, so I bought those. I also bought some like torch tip cleaners and those little pipe cleaner wires and things. It was a whole deal for like $10. You got all kinds of stuff on Amazon. I love getting Amazon. It's like Christmas every day. So I bought that stuff, got that the other day. What else? Oh, I got a call from a former customer, someone I did some work for, wanted me to come up to Monroe, next town over, and Maddie knows the area. It's right about where you turn, Maddie, to go to your dad's, right over in that area. And anyway, she wanted me to drive up there, look at her tractor, which hasn't been running a year or two or three or whatever, and diagnose it, but give her a quote first on what it's going to cost before I even come up. What am I, a magician? I don't know what it's going to cost. I haven't looked at it yet. I don't even know if it starts. I remember when I fixed her snowblower that it was sitting outside of John Deere, all rusty and crusty and, not cleaned and filthy, nasty. So I don't know. I have tomorrow off because every other Friday I have off. So I may go up there with my jump pack and a squirt bottle of gas and just see if it'll start. Because now she claims to be the mechanic. She says, "Oh, I think it's the gears in the transmission." You think it's the gears? You're a mechanic now? I don't know. It's a friend of my wife's, so I have to be nice. So anyway, what else? What else is going on? I'm trying to think. Saws. You guys saw that 350 I bought from, was it North Carolina? And I put the guy's eBay handle in there because a couple of guys were asking. I think Lucky was asking because kind of shady with the serial numbers filed off. But anyway. Runs good, a little bit of scoring like the 346 I had, but runs good. So I may just take it apart, clean it, and maybe if the cylinder's not scoring, just a couple of scores in the piston, maybe I can just clean up a little bit, and that'll be something I can sell. Not looking to make a lot of money. I only spent $100 on it, so that wasn't too bad. How are the cherry trees, Maddie? They still growing or what? But let's see what else is going on. Yeah, I was watching some, what is it? The sawmill videos, Maddie, the other day. Some guy was cutting some really cool stuff, and it had a lot of copper in it, where it was just maybe some wire or something, and copper just didn't kill the blade, but it looked kind of cool when he threw some water on it. So pretty cool slabs. Yeah, you were saying, is it because you have no bees up there, or was it just too much rain? I know around here we got tons of bees, lots of bees. So, yeah, as long as the rainy years come through, that's what you want. Those are the best. They look ugly, but they taste great. I have a friend of mine in Seattle. He's got some real nice cherries. Excuse me. What I was hoping to do this weekend, tomorrow, I've got a doctor's appointment, a couple other things I got to do. I want to get that Tecumseh together, get that out of here, and hopefully then I'll be able to start working on saws. Now that my herd is up to, what is it, 6 Huskies right now. Oh, yeah, another one. I think I told you guys the other day, I got a Craig Timmons special, 142. But the funny thing was, the place that I go to, Eleanor Power, friends of mine up there, Justin, sometimes he's on here, they were going to chuck it because they have no use for a 142. So he called me up and said, "Do you want it?" "Yeah, I'll take it, Anyway, I brought it home. It has a cracked muffler in back of the screen. No big deal. But I cracked the gas cap. It went, psst. Oh, there's fuel in here. He said it needed fuel line, some other things. The normal stuff those Poulon Huskies need. So I said, let me try it. So I put the choke on, second pull, started up. I'm like, I'm looking, it's running sweet. So I said, let me take the muffler bolts out. Took them out, no scoring. So this one here, if anyone's looking for a cheap saw, I didn't pay anything for it. I'll give it to you real cheap. Basically, if anyone needs one, if they, even I'll talk to my friends around here. If anyone needs something, just someone down on their luck needs a saw just to cut some firewood or something, be a nice saw. I don't mind giving back. Back to teeth. Oh, you're at work? Aha. Okay. I thought Tuesday was the late day. Anyway, because after 6, that's weird. Another late day, I guess. What else? Horses. How did you make out with your other live stream earlier? I know it was going crazy with the uh, buffering. In fact, every time I tried to go on, I went on all three of the ones you did, and it just buffered the crap out of it. I couldn't see anything. So hopefully you got a little better on there. Anyway, who else? Only one guy on. It's probably James. But anyhow, what else is going on? Got a guy coming down from Vermont that I met at a tractor show that's going to bring me a couple of 16 horsepower Kohler K series that he wants rebuilt for some John Deere tractors he has. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I love the K series. Yep, me and you, James. And I actually have a Cub Cadet 123 in my driveway that's giving me fits. It's not taking fuel, and I'm wondering if it's valves or whatnot. So that's going to be another weekend project. Hopefully I can get some video on that, because I absolutely love the old International Harvester Cub Cadets back when International Harvester made them. Those were the best, 1961 to 1981. Oh, what else is going on? Not too much. Slowing down a little bit. Most of the mowers and blowers and everything are working. All the customers are happy. One guy dropped off a walk behind blower yesterday that 1981 engine brakes on it, and the carb was all crusty, so I got that running for him. He was happy. Trying to think. A couple of people at work want to drop off some quads and some other things. And I'll be honest with you, I find myself lately, when people want to have their quads worked on, most of the time it's carburetor and fuel issues. And it's just easy to go online and buy a Chinese slide carb that goes in those and just swap it out. It's not even worth trying to clean the things out, especially with old fuel when they haven't run the thing in a couple of years. I mean, I'm guilty of ordering the Chinese parts. I admit it. But in some cases, to charge someone $50 for a repair, including parts, instead of $100, you get more customers that way. So, hey, if they don't mind the Chinese parts and they function properly, I don't mind. The only thing I found with Chinese carburetors is the materials they use when they cast them aren't the best materials. You don't really know what you're getting. And over time, the ethanol really attacks the metal, and you get that powdery residue and everything inside. They don't seem to last a long time. But if you use it all the time, you keep fueling it and you keep cycling it through, yeah, then it's probably okay. I bought a couple of gallons of race gas I was going to use at the get-together last month, but I never used it, so I got to wonder what I'm going to put it in. It's 100-octane race gas, CAM2 race fuel. No ethanol or anything. I just don't know what to do with it. I have 2 gallons of it. It's good. It'll be good forever if I keep it sealed, but everyone I talk to says when you use the higher octane fuel, because everyone knows gasoline, the higher the octane, the slower the burn. So it usually takes more pulls to start a 2-stroke engine if you use like race fuel, because it's burned slower. Once it's warmed, the engine's warmed up, it starts on the first pull, but getting it there instead of 2 or 3 pulls may take you 8 or 10 pulls. So just to let people know, if they buy high octane leaded fuel and mix their oil with it, it may be harder to start. The stuff you buy in Home Depot, Lowe's in a can, it's not as high of an octane. It's probably 87 to 90. And, like I said, that starts pretty good. What else? I still want to take the saw that I brought to the get-together apart. And I think Nikki was asking, or somebody was asking, they wanted to look at the plug, because I only have the 2 runs that I did with Matt. I wanted to see what the plug looks like. It was a brand new plug. I put it in 10 minutes, 5 minutes before we started. So I want to look at that. The 2 scores, I want to see if the scores are all the way around the piston and make sure the cylinder's not bad, because if so, it may just need a cleanup and back together. That saw, I'm still looking to try and find a top for it, the top cover, because the ones that use the primer bulbs, you can't find those top covers. The one on there is a modified top cover of the one that doesn't have the primer bulb. Somebody just cut it out with a X-Acto knife or something. It's okay. It just looks kind of cheesy. I'd like to put the factory cover on that uses those clips. I bought the clips from HL Supply. I just want to get it back to factory. I did put a 455 Rancher brake and clutch cover on it. That looks nice, because I like Matty turned me on to that, where the 455 has a nicer adjuster, an easier adjuster, where you don't have to go in from the front or anything like that. even though the 346 has an adjuster off the cover, the side cover for the 346 was so beat up. I wanted to put a nice new cover on there, so it looks nice. Let's see. There was a anybody know anything about the 450s? I mean, not that I don't have enough 50s saws, but there was a 450 on eBay in Connecticut, Pawcatuck, and I'm just wondering if I know the person or Maddie knows the person. He has it for $50 with like $23 shipping. It's up in I think 5 or 6 days. But I don't know much about the 4 series saw, like the 450. I see a lot of the 455 Ranchers. I'm wondering if it's just a derivative of that, just 5 cc's less. But for $50, I mean, and he says it runs okay. It just hasn't been running a while. It wouldn't be bad. Roy, how you doing, buddy? As always with my chats, Roy, I don't know, it's the first time you're here. Any questions, anything you have about anything, small engine, anything. I work on all brands, everything, any kind of problems. I try and help people out. What do they say? Advice is free. Good advice is 10 cents. I don't know. Everything's free on this channel. My background, Roy, if you don't know, I've been doing small engines on the side for about 20 years. I have a small shop in my basement. I got a Bridgeport Miller, a South Bend lathe, multiple kinds of tools and things. And I'm a tool junkie. I love tools. Like anybody who's on here, they love tools. Friend of mine, I call him a friend, Matt Olson, got me into chainsaws last year on Thanksgiving time. Met him and got me hooked on saws. So now I like to fix saws. So, anytime there's questions on saws, the guys like Maddie and Craig and the guys that have done them forever can answer probably better than me. But I've got some experience with them. I mean, I have been fixing them for 20 years. It's just that now I'm getting into the intricacies of saws, like the port timing and, that kind of thing. Stuff that I never really cared about before. Squish and all that, I never cared. Doug, how you doing, buddy? Glad to see you here, brother. Small Engine Nation, Doug. How you feeling? I hope everything's good with you. I've been saying my prayers for you, buddy. Let's see. Yeah, I started, like I said, about 20 years ago. My wife had gotten laid off. She was working for GE at the time, and they had all kinds of problems up here with GE, and needed some more way to supplement our income because we had a newborn at the time, and people used to see me in my driveway fixing things, and they would ask me, do you fix mowers and blowers and stuff like that? I said, yeah, I can. So I did. I started doing it. I started out with engines for tractors. My first thing I ever did with small engine, I had a Cub Cadet 107 International Harvester with a Kohler K-Series engine, K241. It was smoking like crazy. I bought it off a buddy of mine, and I took it apart. I ordered parts. I rebuilt it and sold it. A guy bought the engine for another Cub Cadet. I actually installed it for him, and that's what started me out back in the year 2000. So a little over 19 years. Since then, like I said, weed whackers, blowers. But one thing I've gotten into, or not into, but one thing I try to avoid now, when people bring me cheap equipment, they do have to realize, Blue Lodge, glad to see you here. Yeah, I'm back finally, right? I took a little hiatus, busy at work. But I tell people now when they bring stuff to my house, because I do it on my house, first thing I tell them, if it's a cheaper piece of equipment, I say to them, look, let me take a quick look at it. For example, a guy brought a Craftsman Poulan chainsaw. And he said, wouldn't start. And I said to him, did you loan it to anybody? First thing I ask, because when they loan it to friends and family, they normally straight gas them, and everyone can attest to that. It happens all the time. Stupid mistake, but people make it. So I normally tell people, and when I usually fix a saw, I will include in the price a can of premixed fuel, 40 to 1. And I say, use it. Go to Home Depot, Lowe's, buy it. Normally, if they say 50, I like 40 better. But anyway, he came over, and last time, it was a few weeks ago, and I took the muffler bolts out, and it was pristine. It was beautiful. I go, not bad. And what it was is the standard fuel line rotted inside. He had gas was all varnished and all that stuff. So it was a fairly easy fix. I called him up literally an hour later. He was happy, and it worked out great. But I tell people with cheap saws, I won't charge you anything right now. Let me take a quick look under the muffler. Let me see if there's scoring. If it looks clean, I'll attempt it. Standard stuff on those Poulans, and Craig Timmons can attest to that. Oh, that's good to hear, Doug. Glad to hear it, buddy. I don't mind working on anything per se, but I'll have people bring me something literally that they picked up at the dump an hour earlier. And they'll say, oh, yeah, it hasn't run in years. How do you know? It wasn't your piece of equipment. And I'll tell a quick story. And I told it in one of my other live streams. I went to the dump one day. I threw out an old edger. I actually put it on the wall next to the dumpster, figuring if anyone wanted parts, instead of throwing it over the wall, put it there, because that's what considerate people do. 2 hours later, a guy comes to my house. Yeah, I got this edger, hasn't run in a while. I want to know if you could fix it. I look at him, I go, where'd you get this? Oh, I've had it. And I look at him, I go, seriously? I said, I don't want to embarrass you, but I said, did you just pick this up at the dump? And he looks at me. I go, it was my edger. He goes, well, why'd you get rid of it? I said, because it's not worth fixing. He said, what do you mean? I said, okay, the carburetor, the C1U carburetor that it calls out, they don't make anymore. Can't get it. Okay. Just can't get the carb. And this thing, the shafts were all like rotted and it was bad. It needed a new carb. Couldn't find one. Called Walbro, unavailable. Nice edger. I mean, 20 years old, 30 years old, but nice little edger. Could I have adapted another carb to it or something? Yeah, but who's going to spend the time and effort to do that? Okay. So I said to him, that's why I put it there. I put it there because someone may have some piece of equipment with a similar engine that may need, a flywheel or a cover or something or a gas tank. That's why I laid it there. So someone could take advantage of it. So I said to him, I said, look, I said, it's really not worth fixing. I would just, get rid of it. And he said to me, how much would it cost to fix? I said, to adapt a carburetor to it, I would have to make up an intake manifold so that the pulse would work properly. And that'd probably be about $20. Another carb, another $20, that's 40. An hour of my time, 30, say, $70. And he looks at me. I said, yeah, for $80, you can buy a cheap used edger. It's not worth it. People have a problem with hearing the words, it's not worth fixing. Okay. Could anything be fixed? Absolutely. But you're not going to fix a Yugo with 10 grand when the car costs $2,000 brand new. You know what I'm saying? It's just economics. People, they don't get it. But you do have people that will come to you with their grandfather's saw or their father's mower or tractor. And I get it because, like I said, my family never really had power equipment. My father got his mowers from a local guy who serviced them in Easton, Connecticut. He had it's called Sport Hill Lawnmower Shop, still around. I think the kids run it. But the guy was in his 60s, 70s, 80s, and my father would buy a $5 junk Briggs motor. The kind with the wind-up starter that blew your knuckles off when it didn't read correctly. Anyway, that's what we used because we had a fairly small lawn, but we always had a push mower, no self-propelled. And my father buying a brand new mower, I think the only one he ever bought brand new was one of those green rally mowers that we used to get at a store called Bradley on the East Coast, which was like a discount store. And that it was red. It had like gold stripes on it. It had a Briggs 3.5 horse, the old engine that they all use. Hold on one second, guys. The cat wants to get out of the den. Hold on one second. Hold on. There you go. Hold on. There you go. Go ahead. We have a new cat. We had to put ours down a month or so ago, and my daughter brought one home and doesn't like me. I don't know why I'm good with animals, but anyway, she had to get out of here. I closed the door so they don't have to listen to my rant when I do my live stream. But anyway, that's what we had. We had a standard 3.5 horse Briggs push mower and 19-inch, whatever, 20-inch, whatever, and that was it. So I didn't know anything about small engines at the time. I was a young kid. All the lawns in my area were small, so no one really had tractors or anything, so I wasn't even exposed to power equipment. 3 miles up the street, old farmland, everybody had tractors, but I wasn't exposed to it. So I got into small engines, like I said, back in late 90s, early 2000s when it was fix something that a friend of mine gave me, an old Cub Cadet tractor. So that's how I started in it. But like I said, it's okay to say no. It's okay to fail. It's okay if you have an engine or something and you just can't figure it out. There's times if there could be a piece of equipment you've never worked on before, you're on YouTube, you're on this, you're on that, and you just can't seem to fix. Could be something stupid. Could be something where you throw it in the garbage and 2 weeks later you have an epiphany at 3 a.m. and say, crap, I didn't check this. It happens. All right. Something as simple as Craig had a video where a piece of carbon jammed between the spark plug electrode and the wire, and it was shorting it out, so you got no spark. Who knows? You don't know. You look, you see, it looks brand new on the outside. So stupid things on small equipment. Always check the plug. Always check for spark. Check for compression. Check fuel, and just simple process of elimination. As I tell technicians all the time, even ones that are experienced, don't be a parts changer. Be a technician. Diagnose. Figure out what the problem is and solve it. All right. I'll spend hours sometimes on a piece of equipment that I've never worked on before, looking at videos and parts lists and service manuals online to try and figure out what could possibly be the cause. 90% of stuff that I see, someone has already fixed it somewhere. So there's always a fix. So, and once you've done repairs for 20 years, you're going to keep seeing the same stupid fixes. It starts out dumb. Gas cap, turn on the fuel, bad fuel. Okay, bad spark plug. How many times I bought brand new spark plugs, put them in, no spark. So it happens. It really happens. Yeah, Craig's got some dynamite videos. I love, like I said, Craig and I, we're sort of like blood brothers because we're the same age, and we can relate to each other and what was going on when we were younger. Except he's on a farm out there for the area where I'm sort of metropolitan here in Connecticut. So, but nice. I love Craig's videos. Love talking to him. Walt, all those guys. Great videos and just a plethora of information that just it hits home. And he works on stuff that I work on. Lately, he's the Poulan king. I got to give him a shirt that says "I speak Poulan" because basically he keeps getting all these Poulans. But spark plugs, yeah, especially those stupid torch plugs. I keep seeing them on Toro units. Toro snow units, and a lot of the cheaper Toro equipment that has their engine has those stupid torch plugs. And nothing against Chinese plugs. I mean, I've seen them all the time, but for some reason, I don't think I've had one torch plug that worked. I think I've probably seen 10 or 15 over the last 3 or 4 years, and every one of them had a problem, either intermittent spark or no spark. And it's funny because the dealer, I had a customer come to me, "Oh, dealer says I need a carburetor." He said, "Why?" He said, "Won't start." So first thing you do, you check for spark. There's no spark. So I put a plug in it, boom, starts right up. Dealer said, "Needed a carburetor." So it must have been a slow day at the dealer, and that's one thing I won't do. I won't lie to a customer. I mean, I have customers come to me. If it takes me 5 minutes to fix their equipment, I say, "You know what? Give me a $10 bill. I'll get a cup of coffee and a Danish. I'm good." Hopefully I'll have a customer, another time. I'm not going to lie to someone. A guy came over one day. He didn't turn his fuel on a snow thrower. And I said to him, "Did you turn the fuel on?" "Yeah, I turned the fuel on." I said, "You sure?" And that's what it was. Stupid stuff. I also have customers that can't afford expensive repairs. Not that some repairs are expensive, but I'll give you an example. An old Briggs Flowjet carburetor that are on like leaf blowers and the 8 horsepower engines, those big bull, they call them 3-hole carburetors. They come in 3-hole and 4-hole configuration on the bull cover. And the seats that they use in those, normally they're the red color Briggs seats. Usually Tecumseh has a white seat. Briggs uses a red seat. Stenz and Rotary sell them green color, which are terrible. Don't buy those. I don't like them. They tend to swell with fuel. I don't know why. But anyway, to put a seat in one of those carburetors, you have to take the carb off, the linkage off, the governor linkage, all that stuff. It's probably an hour job by the time you take it off, clean it up, and put the new seat in, if you don't strip the gasket when you're trying to take the top cover off. If you strip the gasket, now it's a $4 gasket. You got to wait the week to get one if you don't have one. So, repairs can get expensive. So I tell some people that don't like it because they're leaking fuel, put in a fuel shutoff. And this way you use it, whether it be a thrower or a blower. And when you're getting ready to get done, shut the fuel off, let it run out and shut off with the fuel shut off and park it. Now you're good. And then turn it on, let it run for a second, and then you can start it. Save the customer some money. That happened to me the other day. Yesterday, in fact, a guy came. I told him, "You got a little bit of a leak in there." I said, "But for now, you got to get your job done at home. Get it done. I'll order a couple of these seats because I didn't have any in stock yesterday. And, seats $1 or $2, whatever." And I said, "Come back. I'll charge you $20. I'll take the lid off and I'll throw the seat in. No big deal." So he'll do that when he gets a chance. But you have to be honest with the customer. You have to know. I mean, this piece of equipment was 38 years old. It wasn't new by any means. It still had points in it because it was Briggs pre-85. So it wasn't Magnetron. It still had points. So when he said it wouldn't start, the first thing I thought of was maybe the points are oxidized. I got to take the cover off. That's a little bit of a job. You got to take the cover off. You got to pop the flywheel off, that stupid starter ring, and file the points or put in a Nova chip. Get rid of the points. Put a Nova chip in there. So different things. And this is a customer I probably had 2 or 3 times come to me for belt changes on his mowers and things like that. But you try and keep the customers happy. You try and do the repairs that are easy. Oh, here's one for you. You guys will like this. Customer calls me up the other day. I worked on a Husqvarna garden tractor for him. Nice tractor, or lawn garden, whatever it was. It was a good tractor. I put all new belts on it, cleaned it up. It was filthy, nasty, filthy. The guy won the award for filthiest tractor. So I replaced it all, cleaned it all up, put the belts on, cleaned the deck, took the deck apart. It just did a beautiful job for him. He calls me up and said, something's wrong with the transmission or something. It's not moving. I'm like, what? So what happened was he got converted to electronic. Those Nova chips, Roy, for $10. I mean, there's 2 different styles. The Honda / Kawasaki style, which is like a silver box, no heat sink lines built into it. Those are nice. I like those. You can get them on Amazon, eBay for $8, $9. The Novas have the heat sinks molded into them, so they seem to work a little bit better, I think, on the smaller engines, like on steel 031s or any of the old point style steels. The Nova 2, that's a good ignition. Anyway, I go over to the guy's house. It's a Sunday or Saturday? Sunday. It's a Sunday afternoon, and he says it's not moving. So I walk over again. It's filthy again. I said, wait a minute. I just cleaned this thing up. I gave it a good bath and everything. It's filthy. I told him to take the spindle covers off. They're full of grass. So I look underneath, make sure that the main drive belt is on. Okay. And it is, because I replaced it. It was brand new. So I said it is. And I actually replaced I greased up the idler bearings in his drive system, standard AYP Husqvarna drive system, where you have the 2 idlers, the one that moves and pivots and the one that's fixed. One's a flat, one's a V. Normally, the bearings just lose their grease because of all the dirt and everything. It sucks the grease out of them. I use an oiler on my grease gun with a needle tip, and I squirt the crap out of it and just, I'll pop the seal, squirt the crap out of it with grease, put the seal back on. It's good for another 10 years, all right? And the bearing's nice and smooth. Why change them if all you need is grease? So anyway, everything was there. Everything was great. So I said to him, get on it. So he gets on it, and I said, go forward with the pedal. So he goes forward. I'm looking at the wheel, okay? And I see the axle going like this. The key. There was no key. I said, did you have this thing apart? He goes, well, the tire was going flat, so I took it off and I looked at it. And I go, did you take it off? I said, was there like a 2-inch long key that fell out? He goes, there was something. So he runs in his garage and he comes back with the key. And I said, that's what makes it drive. He goes, what? I said, yeah. That key in the axle, half of the square is in the axle and the other half's in the wheel. That key transmits the torque from your axle and makes it move. And the E-clip that goes on the end, and a lot of people don't know this, you have to put the E-clip in the right way. When you look at an E-ring, it's called an E-ring because it's shaped like an E. People say C-clip. No, it's an E. It's shaped like that, and then again. So when you look in the middle of an E-clip, it's like a C, but it's got a little notch in the center too, a little piece, a tab. That tab goes into the keyway. So when you put it into the retaining ring groove in an axle, make sure that center little tab falls into the keyway. That keeps the key from walking out as you use it. People don't realize that. On the other side of the tractor, the key was walking out because the E-ring was pushed in but not snapped into the keyway. It was just put in like at 180 degrees, so it was like free to spin. That's not the way you install an E-clip. An E-clip is there so it can fit into the keyway and hold the key steady. So that's a little tip for tonight. People, you got to realize when it's a transaxle Peerless or a Tough Torque or whatever it is that uses those keys, you got to make sure the E-clip or there's a washer covering the keyway or something. Sometimes there's washers with tabs built into them, but they have to be in the keyway to hold the key there. Oh, my opinion on, let me read that, Nikki. Can you give your opinion on cam chains? What engine are you talking, Nick? I'm trying to think. Spring tension. What it does affect it absolutely, but what engine are you talking, Nick? Give me a for example. I mean, I could talk all day about Ford engines. I mean, the cam phasers and everything in Ford, their modular V8 is ridiculous. You know, there's a guy, Bill's T Max. He's a Canadian. He's a cemetery guy. He does the lawns and everything on cemetery, digs the holes and all that stuff. He just had the problem with a 3-month-old Ford pickup, brand new, where the cam phasers aren't right, and when it's cold, they slap. And you hear the timing chain going, and there's an actual recall. And the funny thing is, the recall is electronic. They reprogram it to give you more oil pressure, so the phasers don't kick in as early when the engine's not up to temperature. Once it's up to temperature, it's fine. But as far as small engines with chains, there's not a whole hell of a lot of small engines with chains. Some of them, there's Kawasaki's and some Yamahas and other ones that have chains in them. But when you have, of course, okay, now you're talking motorcycles. The best thing to do if the engine's got high miles, and when I say high, if you got a motorcycle with over 30,000, maybe 30,000 miles, I would change the chain and the what you call it, the tensioners, the nylon tensioners and all that stuff. I mean, it depends. I mean, I had a couple of Harleys where the tensioners would wear out pretty quick and you'd hear them banging in there and stuff. Depending on, I don't know how the Kawai's built, if there's an adjuster on that, if you can adjust a set screw or a bolt or something to adjust the spring tension on it, or if it's just a fixed adjustment you do or something. But do they wear? Absolutely. If they run hot, they're going to stretch. Okay. When they run, when they overheat a little bit, especially on the air cooled, they can stretch. If you're getting a lot of ticking and tapping and everything else, yeah, it's going to affect the timing. It definitely. I mean, you've got a stretched chain. You got that kind of, extra dwell in there where it's not going to, you're going to give it some throttle and, it's going to pop on you, Thinking noodle. Yeah, that's the way I do it. Either with a piece of wire or something. Sometimes you can take a wire and just wrap it around. You have to do that though, because you're never going to get it any other way, especially on a bike like that. It's blind. You'd have to take half the engine apart to do it. And they do that on a lot of cars and trucks too. They always tell you, don't take the chain out, tie a new one onto it somehow. And, I don't know if you have an extra master link or something you could use, or a piece of wire or something, but yeah, definitely. Because if it doesn't engage the sprockets correctly, you're screwed. Is it a single roller or double roller in that thing? I'm trying to remember. I don't know a lot about the Kawasaki 4s. What's it on, a Ninja or something? And an 8-valve sounds like a Ninja. But yeah, with timing chains, definitely don't just pull them out and hope for the best, because the tensioners, you'll never get it back in without taking all the covers off. You'll never snake it the right way, because the tensioners now will smack against the sprocket. You'll never get the chain in. It'll never work correctly. So you're right in that, Nick. Good call. You definitely got to either snake it, put it on with a piece of wire or a half link or master link that you can pull it through. And definitely. But how are the tensioners? How are the nylon pads, or if they're metal or brass or nylon, whatever they are? How are the springs on those? Are they solid adjustments on those tensioners? You got to look at that stuff too, because if the tensioners are worn to a point now, you may have a new chain, but if the tensioner pads are worn, not going to apply enough tension, and it's just going to do this and wear out quickly. So, and also the sprockets, depending on the mileage, how are the sprockets? How worn are they? You don't want to put a brand new, chain on a worn sprocket. That'll make it worse. So, bikes. Yeah, okay, LTD air cooled. Yeah. So air cooled. Hopefully the engine never overheated or anything. So it should be. But like I said, over time, stretch. It is. It's just stretch from time, and especially if you downshift hard. A lot of people downshift the crap out of these things, and it's going to stretch the chain too. They don't realize that, Yeah, full teardown, absolutely. But you just got to make sure there's not a lot of wear on them. If the lube was in there and they were lubed correctly and in a nice bath and they're not bad, hopefully just pulling a new chain in there will do you good. Hopefully it's not a big chain, but I'm trying to think. The LTD, that's mounted this way, so you got the. It's a big bike, the LTD. The only thing I never liked about those was the handlebars. My buddy had one of those, and the handlebars had rubber donuts holding them in, and it just felt mushy. Like it wasn't as stiff. I'm used to a Harley with like solid triple trees and everything coming up where you could feel them. The Cowie seemed a little, I don't know, doughy. Like I don't know, soft in the front end. I don't know. We'll see. I just got my bike back the other day. My buddy Rich the welder, he hooked me up with new tires and a new seat. I traded him a dual plug 1985 Ironhead Sportster that I had laying around, project bike. So hopefully he'll get that going and run it like he stole it. Yeah, sometimes you have to do the whole valve train. Sometimes it makes sense, depending how the bike was ridden, especially if it was, a dirt bike or on off road or anything like that. Some guys beat the hell out of their bikes. I never did, but I know guys that put a ton of miles on them and beat the heck out of them. No donuts. Yeah, like I said, the funny thing with bikes, I've had numerous Harleys and a few Hondas and ATCs and things like that. I probably enjoyed working on them more than riding them, although I do like to ride. Don't get me wrong. A nice sunny day, like last weekend, you just get on it and go and just have fun. Go out for an ice cream or a piece of pizza or something. It's one thing to be in the wind. I always wear a helmet because I'm like that. But just to have that freedom, just to me and just go, it's fun. Anybody working on any saws or anything, or what you guys working on? Anything going in the shops there? Horses or Roy or anybody? What you got cooking? I know I'm pretty much caught up in my shop right now. I do have a few things laying around that I'm going to get to this weekend, hopefully wrap it up. But I'm looking forward to starting to work on some of my stuff. I use a older Deere STX 38 tractor when I cut my grass if I don't use my snapper. The snapper the other day, 2 weeks ago, I went to go use it. I pulled the cord and it snapped. So snapper snapped the cord. So I've been using the John Deere for a couple of weeks, which is nice. It's a cool tractor and it cuts beautiful. Yeah, I lost it for a while there until it was a year ago. Actually, a year ago this month on Father's Day. And happy Father's Day this weekend to all you fathers out there. It was Father's Day last year. My buddy said, "Here's a Harley 97 Dyna, beautiful shape, great price. You need it." And I go, "I don't need it." So of course we drove out there and bought it. So that's where I got my my Dyna from. And I told him, "What am I going to do with the Sportster project?" He bought it, so he traded me for it. So anyway, UK. So it's what time? 11:30ish. All right, Roy. Good night. Thanks for stopping. I appreciate it, buddy. Thumbs up to you. Yeah, UK, we got you, we got Mick, we got a bunch of guys over in UK, we got Nikki in Ireland, we got all kinds of people over in the that area of the world. Take care, Roy. Have a good night. Thinking of buying a 455 Husky. Let's see. Florida Live. Oh, is a guy near you, Nick, or what? How's shipping over there? Is it going to be expensive to get it to you? What is it? Just a 455 Rancher? Those are real popular over here. In fact, they sell them all over the place. The Tractor Supply sells them, Lowe's, Home Depot, they all sell the 455s. And I'm wondering, maybe you know about the 400s. There's a guy on eBay now with a 450 with, seems like everything's there and it runs in Connecticut, up more closer to Matt than me, but he wants $50 for it, which is, part saw type price, and $20, $20-something shipping, whatever. And I was thinking about, do I need another one? No, but for a cheap price, I don't know. Were you planning on doing it to flip it or something like a firewood saw for yourself? Because that size saw, 50, 60 size saw, it's a good size saw, for what I do around here. I don't really cut a lot of wood, The 288, Matt would appreciate that, James. I know he would. Yeah, he's got to watch what he does. He's going to start. Actually, I was going to say he's going to get into deficit spending, but if what he says is true, he says he sold, I think, 200 to 250 of the kits. I don't know because of his latest order for parts on those kits. I'm sure he's in the black, but like you said, how many sauce does he have? How much money has he spent? I'm sure that money, like me, I don't spend any of my salary from work, my day job, on this stuff. Anything I do for myself for entertainment, tools, so forth, is all out of the small engine stuff. So that's one thing that keeps me, sane at night, is knowing I'm not tapping into, family finance. I fixed something like the other day. I fixed a blower, got a quick $20. There's lunch for a couple days. So, 60 sterling. They still use sterling? Ireland. The sterling. What's that in US dollars? What is that, about $90 US? I think it's about, what, 1.5 maybe? I figured you guys would be on the euro. Should be able to ship it for 1/3 of the offer. Huh. Well, that's not bad. How is shipping over in your end? I mean, are they pretty dependable? I know here it's crazy. It's 7 days a week now. Even the postal service. I see mail trucks every Sunday delivering mail and packages, mostly packages. But I talked to our mailman, and he says he can work as many hours as he wants, as many days as he wants. I know the post office is losing money. I know that. But he said, yeah, most of the time, Saturdays and Sundays, they're doing packages for FedEx and UPS. So, you'll see the doorbell will ring, and you see the postman gets in his little car, drives away, or truck, and there's a UPS package on your step, or a FedEx package, Crazy. The euro. Yeah, UK stuck with the pound. Yeah, especially with the Brexit and all that other crap they're working on. Who knows what it's going to be. But, yeah, pound sterling. So that's, about 1 was it 1.5, 1.4, something like that. The only time I ever use that is when I watch Wheeler Dealer, and I see that guy Mike talk about pounds. Anyway, I'd like to go to England or up that way. My sister has a good friend in Ireland, in County Cork, and I think you told me you were sad to hear that. I think that's the comment you made, but that's where he's from anyway, County Cork. But she actually went out there and visited his family. I guess they were potato farmers or some kind of farmers out there, but a little impoverished area, I guess. But beautiful country, though. My mother went out there on some shopping trip one day with a bunch of ladies, and it's pretty cool. FedEx and UPS are merging. Yeah, Fed Up. That's an old one, James. That one came out years ago. You definitely get fed up, that's for sure. Yeah, I was talking about this mower I'm fixing, this bearing. The two parts, the wheel and the cover, came today, Amazon. They came in 2 days. But the bear actually came in 1 day. I ordered them yesterday. The bearing, though, it says it was a week lead time. And I'm saying, as long as it's not Jack's Small Engines. I love Jack's, don't get me wrong. But Jack's never stocks a lot of stuff. Jack's has to order it, get it in, then they ship it to you. And when they ship it to you, it's usually 2 days or 3 days. But it may take them a week to get it from the warehouse. So, when they say it's in stock, yeah, it's in stock somewhere. Everything's in stock somewhere. It's just how long is it going to take to go and get it, So as soon as I get that bearing, that mower is gone and I get paid. See, that's the thing with me. You just take a piece of equipment, you take it apart, you start fixing it. Now you're waiting for parts. Well, you're waiting. So that means no dinero, no money, no cashola. So you need a payday. So that's why as soon as the parts come in, they go on, ship it, send it, call the customer up, come get it. So, but, oh man, what else? Oh, the other day, a friend of mine came by to pick up when I cleaned out my garage. I had an old Cub Cadet 1000, more of a parts tractor than anything else. It had a 3-point hitch on it, or sleeve hitch, whatever it was. And he wanted it. I said, take the tractor, you could have the hitch, because they're worth about $150 for the hitch. So he had a mailbox post in back of his pickup. And once he put the tractor in, the mailbox post wouldn't fit. He goes, you got a saw? I said, do I have a saw? I took out the 346. I showed him the Sugihara bar and the race chain and all that. And man, I cut through that thing like Swiss cheese. He was laughing. The thing made nice noodles of wood. So he was saying, where the hell did you get that thing? I said, it's my race saw. He goes, how'd you do it? It came in second. So it's all right. Anyway. Anyway, all right, guys, I think I'm going to hit it. It's almost dinner time. My daughter Jessica is going to make something for me for dinner because my wife went out with the girlfriends tonight. So hopefully she'll make something good. So let me call it a night here. Thanks for showing up, Nikki, James, Roy, everybody, everyone that showed up. Just thank you very much. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. And this weekend, starting tomorrow, hopefully you got a doctor's appointment, but after that, I'll get working on some stuff. Just to fix her up, going to scrap. Yeah, I know. I don't like things going to scrap. That's why when the 142 came up at the dealer, I said, no, I have to have it. Even if I give it to somebody that needs a saw. In fact, I know a guy who does need one. I may give it to him, charge him $10. I don't know. I just can't see, even though they're the Poulan saws, Craig has me now in this thing where you can't let a Poulan die. You gotta resurrect it, keep it alive. So, all right, guys, take care. Have a great night to those who over in the UK in that area. Thanks for staying up for me. And hopefully some people learned something today or it was entertaining for you. Glad you showed up. I will talk to you guys soon. That's it for now. Hopefully I'll be on this weekend with some real content, show you some things that I'm working on, and we'll get it going. So take care, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.